Hello students, today we are going to learn about timber stairs. So this is going to be a lecture on timber stairs. It is going to be a little bit of a long lecture, so please bear with me and let us go through this lecture. Later on in the next lecture we can see more about the details of preparing a drawing for a timber stairs. So let us start with the first slide. So what is a timber stair? So first we will go to what is a stair. So a stair is nothing but a series of steps leading from one level to another, and that is called as a stair. So you can see that these are the steps and they are leading from one level to another level, and therefore we call this as a stair. So then what is the staircase? What is the difference between stairs and staircase? So the stairs along with the enclosing walls around the stairs is called a staircase. So as you can see here, these are the steps which you can see here inside, and outside you will see that this is an enclosing wall with a door and other things. So this entire thing along with the wall is going to be called as a staircase. Now what is a tread? A tread is the horizontal portion of a step. So as you can see, this is the horizontal portion of the step on which we keep our foot. It is called as a tread. What is a riser? So a riser is the vertical portion, that is this vertical portion of the step is called as a riser. So we are going to go and we are going to climb a number of risers. Now what are the typical dimensions of a tread? So you will see that there are some minimum and maximum values for dimensions of tread and riser. So you will see that in case of a residential building, the minimum size of the tread has to be 250 millimeters. So as you can see, this is the total out distance of the tread. This is the portion on which we keep our foot. And so for a residential building, this dimension is minimum 250 mm. And for all other buildings, like for example office buildings, institutional buildings, educational buildings, what you will see is that a minimum of 300 mm has to be used for the tread. Now what are the dimensions of the riser? Actually this term riser is actually, technically speaking, it is for the member which is there here, but normally we in layman's term we call this as a riser, but in technical terms this should be called as a rise. So for residential buildings, the rise, or in layman's term the riser, should be between 150 to maximum 200 millimeters. 200 millimeters is little on the too much higher side, but this can be used only in cases where it is just not possible to provide a staircase in a small space. So ideally it should be 150, but you can go up to 200 in case of residential buildings. But for all other buildings, like we saw that office buildings, public buildings, all types of educational buildings, the maximum height of the riser is 150. So remember this, the maximum height in that case is 150. You cannot exceed 150 in case of buildings which are public buildings. Now let us see what materials out of which the stairs are made out of. So you will see that stairs can be made in different materials: timber, steel or other metals, then stone, concrete or RCC, that is reinforced cement concrete. They can be made in brick and so on. What we are going to be studying in this particular lecture is going to be related to only timber stairs. Now let us see what are the different types of stairs. So we can say that stairs are classified according to different ways. One of the ways of classifying the stairs is they can be either straight flight stairs, dog leg stairs, open well stairs, L-shaped stairs, circular or geometric stairs, and some more like bifurcated stairs. So we'll see all of these different types now in detail. So now this is the first type of stairs, which is called as a straight flight stair. Now as you can see here, there is just a series of steps which are leading from one level to another level, and they are in a straight line. So the travel of the person who is trying to climb from one level to another level is in a straight line, and therefore this is called as a straight flight stair. What you can see here is in plan, these lines are indicating the lines of the risers, and the distance between these two lines, it is indicating the tread. Second type of stairs is called as dog leg stairs. In this case, what happens is that a person starts climbing up, then he comes to a mid landing or a space, and then again he climbs another flight of stairs and he reaches the top or the level which he wants to achieve. So one starts climbing from here, goes up to this landing, this is called as a mid landing, and then from here it goes up and he goes to the final level. So this is called as a dog leg stair. Next type of stair is similar to dog leg stair, but in this case what you will see is that the central part of the stair is open. In the earlier case, what you will see is that there is no central open part in the stair, but now in this stair which we see, you will see that there is a central open part through which you can communicate below. So this is called as a well of the stair, and therefore this type of stair is also called as open well stairs. Next is L-shaped stairs. They are also called as quarter turn stairs. So in this case, the person starts climbing one flight of stairs, he goes up, then he encounters a landing which is called as a quarter landing, and then he turns at right angles and then he approaches the final level. So here the turning of that person is through 90 degrees. In the earlier case, what we saw was that the turning was through 180 degrees. Now in this case, what you will see is that the turning is through 90 degrees. So this is called as a L-shaped stairs, or it is also called as a quarter turn stair. Next type of stair is called as a geometrical stair. These could be circular or any other type of geometric shape. Normally circular shape is the most commonly used. So as you can see here, this is a circular stair, and this is also a sort of a circular stair. Now there is a difference between circular stair and spiral stair. In case of circular stair, what you will see is that there is a lot of space in between, and therefore this is called as a geometric stair. Now the next type of stair is called as a bifurcated stair. In the bifurcated stair, what happens is that there is one flight which leads to a landing, a mid landing, and then from the landing there are two flights which go into opposite directions and they reach the top level. So as you can see in the elevation, you climb one flight, reach a mid landing, and then you can go on opposite sides to reach the upper landing. Now this is a spiral stair. So what we had seen earlier was a geometric stair. In this case, the central part was open, and therefore it was much easier to climb these type of stairs. But the spiral stair has got some major advantage. What you will see is that there is going to be only a central support, and then there are going to be these steps which are going to be going around the central support. The basic advantage of this stair is that it occupies a very small space, and therefore it can be used to climb a short distance. So this cannot be used for very tall buildings or to go to multiple levels. So this is used normally for going from one level to a short level above. Now there is a big difference between straight flight stair and single flight stair. So just try to understand this. What is a straight flight stair and what is a single flight stair? So straight flight stair indicates that the direction of travel is in a straight line. A straight flight stair may consist of more than one flights with intermediate landing. So what is a flight? Flight is a series of steps without any discontinuity in between. So in this case, what it means is that it may consist of one flight or it may consist of more number of flights with intermediate landings in between. While as a single flight stair would mean that there is only one flight of stairs without any landing in between. So single flight stair indicates that there is only one flight without any landing. And in case of single flight stair, remember that normally not more than 14 steps are taken in a single flight. Now if this is not clear from this definition, we'll go to the sketch and see what it means. So now here you can see actually the difference between a single flight stair and a straight flight stair. So what you can see here is that in single flight stair there is only one flight and we are moving in one direction without any landing in between. We start from the lower landing and directly reach the upper landing. So the number of steps in this case should not be more than 40. Now in this case what you are seeing is a straight flight stairs. So here you are seeing that there is one flight, then there is a landing, and then there is another flight, there is a landing, and therefore what you can see is that this is a straight flight, means that we are moving in the straight direction. There is no turning at 90 degrees or 180 degrees as in the earlier case. So that's why this is called as a straight flight stair, and this is called as a single flight stair. So what you will understand is a single flight stair is also a straight flight stair, but there is a specific difference in the definition of single flight and straight flight, which you should have understood with this sketch. Now let us start with timber stairs. So what are timber stairs? What is the different terminology which we are going to use, and what are the different components in a timber stair? So let us go one by one and see what are the definitions or terminologies in case of a timber stair. So first important thing that you should remember is that a timber stair is made up out of the tread and riser combination. The tread and riser both are made in timber planks. Now you will understand that the persons or people are going to walk on this tread, and what is going to happen is that the load of the people who are climbing the stairs is going to be transferred via the tread to some place here. So to support this load which is coming on this tread, what you have is these type of inclined timber members. These inclined timber members are called as the strings or stringers. So what happens is that when a person climbs on these treads, the tread transfers the load to the stringers, and the stringers transfer the load to the ground, and here up to a beam which is going to be there at the top, or it would be a post, a vertical timber post, which is not shown here. But remember that these two members which are on the two sides, they are called as the strings or stringers, and they are actually holding this tread and riser combination together. So the same thing has been shown here, but more in detail. Like what you will see is that this is the tread and this is the riser, and the side members which you are seen in elevation here, and this is called as a string. So there may be one or two strings to a flight which are indicate inclined sides of the stairs, and they are designed to carry the load transferred from the tread and the riser. Next is tread. So we have already seen what is a tread. So tread is the horizontal member of the step on which we put our foot. Now this is the wide horizontal member between the strings to form the top of the step. Now what is a riser or a riser board? So what you will see is that this particular board is called as a riser. The vertical member of a step is called as a riser. So earlier I had told you the difference between a riser and a rise. The rise is the distance from top of the tread to the top of the next tread. So that is called as a rise. While as the member here, the vertical member itself is called as a riser or riser board. This is the narrow horizontal member between the strings to form the vertical face of each step. Next is what is nosing. Now you will realize in the earlier sketch also that the tread is actually projecting outside the face of the riser. So same way here you can see that the tread is projecting outside the face of the riser. Now this is done for two important things. One is that it increases the distance on which we keep our foot, so we get sufficient space for putting our foot. So this could be 250 or 300 depending upon what type of building it is designed for. So that is one reason that the nosing is provided. Second reason for providing the nosing is that it conceals the joint between the tread and the riser, so that is the second reason. And the third reason is because we have a nosing, as you can see, it can be made rounded or chamfered, so that if anybody falls on the stairs, there are no sharp corners here, and therefore this, because of the nosing, you can make a rounding or sort of a chamfer here. Now what are glue blocks or blocks? So what you will see is that here we are going to have a combination of tread and risers. Now you will see that these two have to be kept at right angles to each other, and to give them additional support, that is to keep them at right angles or fix them properly, we use triangular wedge shaped members. These triangular wedge shaped members are called as glue blocks. So triangular blocks of timber fitted under the back of the tread and riser to hold two together. Now similar type of blocks are also used on the side of the stringer here. So you can also see that the tread has to be connected to the stringer, and therefore a similar type of block can also be used here. We'll see that more in detail when we see the detailed drawing of the stairs. Now what are wedges? What you will see is that when we fix the tread and riser combination into the string is the inclined member which is there. We make a groove or a housing inside this particular string, which again we will see more in detail when we see the detailed sketches. And to fix the tread finally in these grooves, we use a pair of wedges. These wedges are used to fix the tread and riser properly into the string. Normally we keep this groove, which we see here, slightly bigger than the actual tread, so that we can adjust the right angle between the riser and the tread. Once these right angles are adjusted, this wedge is then inserted into this space and hammered inside, so that we can get the proper fixity between the tread and the riser. Now next term which we are going to use is called as a handrail. So you are aware that when we climb the stair you have to keep a hand on the railing. So this is called as a railing or a handrail. A rail fixed between the newel posts parallel to the top edge of the string to provide a safety rail for stair users. So this is fixed between newel posts. So this is called as a newel post. These are two major big posts which are provided. We'll see that more in detail later. But this is called as a newel post. And the handrail is the rail which is fixed to that. Next is the newel post. The newel post is an upright post to which the strings and handrails are attached. So as you can see, this is a string, the inclined portion. Now these are all decorative things which are there, but otherwise this member is going to be called as a string, which you can see in elevation on the other side. So that and these tread and riser combinations are fixed to the newel post. Now what are balusters? These are small members, vertical members with a spacing of maximum 125 between them, which are used to support the handrail. So the handrail is supported by these vertical members. These are called as the balusters. Now the top member, that is the handrail, along with the balusters, is going to be called as a balustrade. This is the whole of the framing which comprises of handrail, balusters, newel post and string, All these together is called as a balustrade. So this is the balustrade. Next, what is the spandrel? So as you can see, this is the triangular portion. This is the triangular shaped space formed between the underside of the string and the floor. This is called as a spandrel. Now, what are winders? You might have seen that in within the landing. Now you can see here that this is one flight, then this is a sort of a landing in between, and then there is another set of flight. Now, if we fall short of number of risers to go up, many times what we can do is add some additional steps here within the landing. These are called as winders. These are not ideal thing to provide in a stairs, and because there is always a possibility that people can actually trip while coming down on these narrow spaces which are created. But when we are having a very small space in which we have to provide the stairs, sometimes we have to use these members which are called as winders. Now next term is going to be called as going and rise. So there is a going and rise of a flight. So as you can see, this is a flight of steps. As I told you, what is a flight of steps? A flight of steps is nothing but a series of tread and risers, or series of steps is called as a flight. So the distance from the topmost face of the riser to the bottommost face of the riser is called as the going of the flight. Similarly, the height of the lowest level, the level from which you start climbing the steps, to the top landing where you reach, this is called as the rise of the flight. Now similar to the going and rise of a flight, there is also a going and rise of a step. So if you look at just one step, what you will see is that the distance between the face of the riser to the face of the next riser is called as the going of the step, while as the distance from one top of the tread to the top of the other tread is called as the rise of the step. So what is the difference between going and tread? What you will see is that the tread is right up to the edge here. From here to here, this is the tread. So this is going to be called as the tread, while as the going is from the face of the riser to the face of the next riser. So what we can say is that the tread is nothing but the going plus the nosing which is there in front. So going plus nosing is going to be the tread. Now there are some other terms which we can see here, that when we have a floor above and the stairs are going through that floor, we have to keep opening at the top so that the people can pass through this. So what you will see is that this is called as a stairwell, a space into which these people can just come up. Similarly, what you will see is that when you start climbing here, your head should not bang onto the floor above. So you have to keep a minimum distance here. This minimum distance which you have to keep is called as the headroom. So sufficient headroom should be kept between the top of the tread to the bottom of the floor above, so that one does not bang his head on the slab. So again here you are seeing the headroom. This is the upper ceiling or the slab above, and you will see that this headroom has been shown. Here it has been shown as 2.03, but ideally it should be roughly around 2.2 meters. So this is the headroom which should be there. Now let us try to see what are the joints between the tread and the riser. So what you will see is that in this particular case the tread has been shown. What you will see is that this nosing has been shown here, and instead of a curved nosing, here you are having a slightly small curvature given to the nosing, and you will see that the tread and the riser are fixed with the help of a joint. So what is this type of joint, which we have already learnt in case of floor and in other things? This is a tongue and groove joint. So there will be a continuous tongue and a continuous groove inside the tread. So there is a tongue made inside the riser and a groove made inside the tread. Similarly here also there is a tongue made inside the riser and a groove made inside the tread. So this is a tongue and groove joint. Now obviously you will see that the tread and riser combination has also to be connected to the stringer or the string which is there on the side. So to fix this inside the string is cut inside like this with a groove. As I told you, these are the grooves which are made inside the stringer to accommodate the tread and riser combination. These grooves are called as the housing, and the tread and the riser go inside this and get fixed. As I told you, the actual distance of the groove is slightly bigger than the thickness of the tread, and therefore after fixing this properly, we fix that distance, the extra distance which is there is going to be covered up by using a wedge. So you will have a vertical wedge and horizontal wedge fixed here to tighten the tread and riser system. So this is how the joint between the stringer and tread and riser is made. This is called as a housed joint. Now here you are seeing a more detailed view of a dog leg stair. So as you can see, there is one flight which is going up like this, then there is a half landing, or it is also called as a mid landing, and then there is another flight. You go to the first landing or the floor landing. Now what you will see here is that there are two stringers on the two sides. The stringer which is fixed next to the wall, this is a wall here, the stringer which is fixed next to the wall here and on this side also, these are called as the wall stringers, while as the stringer here is called as the outer stringer, which you can see. Now you can also see the tread riser here. You can see the Newel post, the handrail, the balusters, the Newel post here, another Newel post here, and how it is connected. So this is showing you more detail of a dog leg stair which is made in timber. This is again showing you what we had learnt earlier. This is the joint between the riser and the tread. So this type of a joint is going to be tongue and groove joint. Now sometimes what is done is that the nosing is further extended and a small molding type of thing is given here to give a aesthetical look to that. So this is called as a scotia mold, or it is called as a timber mold, which is provided here between the joint. So this is an optional thing. This may be provided or may not be provided. This is purely done for aesthetical purpose, and the second reason is that you can extend the tread slightly more by having a more amount of nosing projection. Now in some of the stairs you will see that the riser is totally eliminated and what you have is only the treads. So this type of a stair is called as the open riser stair. So in such a case, what you will see is that the housing is done only for the treads and there is no housing done for fitting the riser. So this is the string, and what you will see is the housing done for fitting these treads, and you will see that they are fixed with the help of dowels or pins, wooden pins. They are inserted into this particular groove and the tread is fixed inside the string. So this type of stair is called as an open riser stairs, in which the risers are totally eliminated. Another type of stair which you can see is that normally what you will see is that the stringer is sort of inclined, parallelly inclined two members here. But in some cases this stringer may be cut in the same profile as that of the steps, as you can see here. So this is a stringer and this has been cut like this in the same profile as that of the tread and riser. So these are called as cut stringer stairs, where the stringer is not in the form of two parallel lines, but it is actually following the profile of the stair. So this is called as a cut stringer stair. Here also you will see the cut stringer stair. So the stringer is cut to form the tread riser combination. Now here you will see more in detail of what is the blocks. So if you look at this particular underside of the stair, this is showing the view from the bottom. What you will see is that the tread riser combination And to fix this tread and riser combination, you are using these wedge shaped triangular members called as the blocks. So you'll see that there are two blocks here, there are two blocks on this side, and there is also blocks which are used to connect the tread to the stringer. So this is something important that was not there in the earlier sketch. So what you can see here is that a set of blocks is also used to connect the stringer and the tread. Now here one more member has been shown here, or rather three members have been shown here. These members are called as the bearers. So as you can see, what are the bearers? So sometimes what happens is that when the stairs are of a small width, that is only up to about 800 to 900 wide stairs, like in case of a residential stair, in that case there is no need for providing these bearers. But suppose this width exceeds 900 mm, more than 1 meter say, then in that case additional members have to be given to support the tread, because what happens is that the tread starts becoming of a very big span, and therefore there is a possibility that the tread will start bending. So to prevent this bending, we need to provide this, or we need to support this by additional members which are called as the bearers. So what you will see is that these are the bearers which are provided, two on the edges and one in the center. Now the problem is that when you provide this bearer, how is it going to support the tread? Because this is a member which is inclined and the tread is a horizontal member. So there has to be some connection between the bearer and the tread. And therefore what you will see is that these wooden planks are connected to the bearer, which go right up to the tread and support the tread. So these are called as rough brackets. So this is another term which you should understand. These are called as rough brackets. What are the rough brackets? They are timber planks which connect the bearer to the tread so that the tread can transfer the load onto the bearer. What you will see also here is that the rough bracket is not provided on only one side of the bearer but alternately. What it means is that for this tread the rough bracket is on this side, for the other tread it is on the other side. You cannot see it here, but you will see small portion of this from this side. So you will see that the rough bracket is also there on the other side. Again, for the next tread it is on this side, for the next tread it is on the other side, like that. So to balance the load which is coming on the bearer, the rough brackets are provided alternately on one side of the bearer and the other side of the bearer for alternate treads. Now there are also some joints which are there between the Newel post. As you saw, this is a Newel post and the stringer. So what you will see is that the stringer at the end is cut into what is called as a tenon mortise joint. So we have already learnt about tenon mortise joint in case of doors and other things. So here you will see that there is a tenon mortise joint. Here you will see that this is a double tenon mortise joint. There are two tenons, and this portion here which you will see is the mortise. So these tenons are inserted into this mortise, and then these dowels, wooden dowels, they go through this particular Newel post and into the tenons, where you will see that holes are kept here and they get properly fixed into the Newel post. So the stringer is fixed to the Newel post by means of the tenon mortise joint. Similarly, what you will see is that the handrail is also fixed to the Newel post by again a tenon mortise joint, as you can see. So we can learn more about details of this housed tenon mortise joint, but you can just remember that right now that this is a joint between the handrail and the Newel post, and it is the tenon mortise joint again. Now there is a joint between the balusters. As you can see, these are the balusters. There is a joint between the stringer and the baluster. So what you will see is that a small cut is being made inside the stringer corresponding to the balusters, and this is called as the housed joint. And a similar cut will be made inside the handrail at the bottom, in which this baluster will go inside. So this is also going to be a housed joint. So the joint between the baluster and the stringer and this handrail and the baluster is going to be the housed joint. So let us continue. Now here again you are seeing a similar detail, that you are seeing a flight of stairs. You are seeing the two stringers. As I told you, the stringer which is fixed to the wall is called as the wall stringer. The other stringer is the open stringer on the open side of the stairs. You will see here the grooves or housing which has been made in the stringer to fix the tread and riser combination. And you will see the newel post. In this case, the newel post is going right up to the bottom to support or to transfer the load from the stringer. You can see the second newel post at the bottom, that the stringer is fixed into the newel post. In this particular newel post and other newel post, the joint in between these two will be a double tenon mortise joint. You can see these two pin holes here in which the wooden pins are inserted, and so on. So you can see more details of the stair in this sketch. Now this particular drawing is showing you, suppose we want to provide winders. We had seen what is meant by winder earlier. So this winder, suppose we want to provide, how it is done. So in that case what you will see is that the stringer has to be provided like this all along the wall, and the stringer is to be cut like that in the shape, and then some members, additional members you have to provide to support the winders, which you will see here, these dotted lines. If you see them, these are the additional supports which you have to give to support these triangular pieces, which are the pieces of the winders. Now let us see that when we at the start of the stair, many times for aesthetical purpose, the first step, the tread and the riser, is made into a curved shape. So this is called as a bull nose step, or sometimes this is also taken outside and then made into a shape like this. So these are the shapes given to the first step many times, and this is done for purely aesthetical purpose to indicate these first step, how the details are done. If you remember, when we had gone to Gokhale Institute for our site visit, we had seen this type of a detail, or something like this type of detail, when we had seen the stairs there. So that is all about timber stairs. This was the first lecture on timber stairs. I will try to again post another lecture in which I will show you the details of a drawing, where how the drawing can be made for a timber stair. So I hope this is clear to you. If you have any doubts, you can post your doubts to me on WhatsApp. Thank you.